You ever see this happen? One person says something and it moves mountains. Another person says the exact same words and nothing. It's one of the biggest mysteries in communication, and we're going to unpack it.
So let's get right into it. Why does a brilliant argument from one person get completely ignored, while someone else makes the same point and it just changes the entire room? Well, the answer isn't in the logic of the words. It's in the physics. It's this invisible layer of data that our brains are just hardwired to process first, a layer most of us don't even know exists.
This isn't a new idea. Decades ago, a psychologist named Albert Mehrabian basically uncovered the first clue. His research proved a really fundamental truth. Our brains have a hierarchy of belief. When the words we hear don't match up with the body language we see, we automatically, every single time, believe the nonverbal message. And that brings us to the core of what we're talking about today. We're going to decode this invisible force. We're going to call it the signal. Just think of it like a data stream that's always running underneath your words. It's the thing that really decides if you're believed, if you're trusted, or if you're just dismissed. Here's the most crucial part. The signal is basically the package that your message arrives in. It's this blend of your vocal tone, how confident you seem, and the emotional energy you're broadcasting. And here's the kicker. The listener's brain opens this package before it ever even reads the letter inside. And I want to be clear, this isn't some kind of philosophy. This is straight up neuroscience. The parts of our brain that process things like tone and emotion, the limbic system, they're just evolutionarily older and way faster than the parts that handle language, the neocortex. So your brain has already decided if a speaker is a threat or an ally long before it gets around to deciding if their argument makes any logical sense. Okay, so this signal, it's not just random noise. It actually broadcasts very consistently on 3 primary frequencies. And if you can understand these, you can start to understand how influence really works. These are the patterns that just show up again and again and again in any high-stakes environment, whether it's a boardroom or a crucial sales call. It always comes down to tone, confidence, and energy. Let's break down exactly how each one of these plays out. All right, first up, tone carries truth. Just picture a leader. They're up there presenting rock-solid data for a new strategy. The words themselves are perfectly logical, but their tone, it's shaky, it's hesitant. The team doesn't hear opportunity. What they feel is risk. That anxious tone becomes the real message, and all that beautiful data becomes totally irrelevant. Second, confidence transmits credibility. Let's flip that scenario. Imagine someone in that same meeting raises a concern. Now, if their voice is weak, easy to dismiss. But what if they deliver that exact same concern with a calm, steady, authoritative signal? Suddenly, the brain of everyone listening treats that confidence as if it's evidence. The concern isn't just an opinion anymore, it's a credible threat that has to be dealt with. And third, and this one's huge, energy is contagious. Our brains have these things called mirror neurons, and they cause something called emotional contagion. It's real. So if a founder announces an exciting new product, but their personal energy is just flat, the team won't hear the word excitement. They will literally catch the feeling of disengagement. The leader's internal state gets transferred directly to the team, like a virus. So how does all this play out in the real world, in real time? See, it's not just a series of signals going one way. It's a dynamic game. And in that game, the person who controls the nonverbal frame is the one who controls the meaning of the entire conversation. Let's just break down a simple 60-second announcement. At the 10-second mark, the leader states the vision. The words are perfect, but by second 25, their anxious signal, a tight voice, shallow breathing, it's already taken over. Fast forward to second 45, and you can see the team's posture has actually changed. They're mirroring that anxiety. The result? At the 1-minute mark, a logically sound message is dead on arrival. It was rejected emotionally before it even had a chance to be considered rationally. And the consequences of not understanding this game, they're severe. This isn't about being a bad speaker. It's about a fundamental failure in transmission. The message you think you're sending just never actually arrives. And this is what that cost really looks like. When your signal clashes with your words, your brilliant idea gets ignored. Your good intentions are completely misunderstood. Your authority gets devalued, gets questioned, and ultimately you find yourself just talking and talking, but you never actually move anyone to do anything. This is really the key takeaway here. A failure in communication is almost never an information problem.
It's a perception problem. It's a failure to see that there's a deeper, more primal game being played right underneath the surface of the words.
So what is it that separates the people who consistently win in these moments? It's not that they have better words. It's that they have a fundamentally different mindset. They don't think like speakers. They think like transmitters. The average communicator, right? They're obsessed with their content. Is my deck clear? Is my logic sound? But the elite communicator, they're focused on their state. They're asking, what's my emotional and physical state right now? What signal am I actually broadcasting? They get that their internal state is the most persuasive part of their entire message. And that right there is the edge. Mastery isn't about memorizing a script. It's about managing your own internal frequency, because that is what everyone else in the room is actually tuning into. Your state is the message. So this brings the whole analysis right back around to you. The only way to get any control over your signal is to first become aware of it. So let's just end with a simple audit. 3 sharp questions to ask yourself before your next big conversation. First one, forget about what you're planning to say for a second. What is the default emotion that you project when you walk into a room? Is it calmness? Is it anxiety? Is it focused energy? You have to be honest with yourself.
Second, how do you actually sound to other people? Not what you say, but the music of your voice. Is it steady? Or is it kind of shaky? Is it resonant and full, or is it thin? Remember, your vocal tone is a direct printout of what's going on inside.
And finally, the ultimate question. If your words were completely muted, what message would your presence alone transmit? Because that message, it's being received, whether you're aware of it or not. That is the signal you are sending, and that is what determines the outcome.